Today on the pod,
Jaz Zapp,
comedian,
musician,
like a hot weird owl. Me being in this space, like interviewing all these dudes, all these bands, and I need to also like set a precedent that like I'm not a groupie. Like I'm not here to flirt with the bands. I'm here to interview the bands. And not that I haven't had my offers, but I just
not to brag.
I just know myself. I mean, who hasn't? But like, I just know. I know that
the bar's
it's like,
low.
Yeah. Still, you have to like really hold a boundary in
Totally.
a super male-dominated space because it's such a slippery slope. You can't just be like, all right, maybe just one drummer.
Hi,
hello, welcome back to Glass Slipping.
it's me, Key, and that's Pete, and we have an iconic guest today. An iconic guest. Jaz, please tell us a little bit about what you do. You can direct it to me or to the camera. I don't really give a shit, but just give me like a brief if you have one.
I'll do a split
Yeah.
so you feel good.
I love
and
it.
they feel good. I'm Jaz Zapp, and I hate this question because I'm always like, how much time do you have? I do too many things, but I am mainly a comedian. I have niched myself sort of into like the emo pop punk nostalgia.
I'm familiar with your work. Don't stop touching my wiener behind that Jamba Juice. That is one of my favorite videos on the internet, and
Thank you.
I'm not kidding, has been stuck in my head all day.
Musical comedy has like been kind of my love of life for a long time, and I know when I'm on the right track when like 1,000 people on the internet are like, I can't get this out of my head. It
literally plays on my mind in loop. And Skateboard Skate Show in that same video. I think that's what I commented on your video. I was like, when you got to see like the Skateboard Skate Show, I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm cooked.
Well, like I grew
So
up
fucking
like
funny.
my emo scene kid vibe was in South Florida, which was very like my ex-boyfriend went to the same college as Chris Caraba from Dashboard Confessional.
Oh my God.
We're all in like the South Florida emo kid scene, which is very like surfer skater.
Yeah, totally.
Not Midwest vibes.
Yeah.
But so that's like, I mean, that's home base for me. And
Totally.
then I live alone. And when you live alone, you end up saying a lot of weird shit to yourself and then go, I'll just film it.
It is kind of amazing. It is freeing though when you don't have to deal with roommates or anyone else. Like, and you're like, no, I'm just gonna film this and we're gonna let it go.
Yeah, fuck it.
All of my creativity stems from like a deep loneliness.
Have you seen that video? This popped up on my page the other day. It was like someone getting interviewed. It's like, I think like very early 2000s, and they're like at a club, and the guy's like, they're like, how are you feeling? And he's like, well, I'm constantly concerned about the Western descent into fascism, but we're here to dance. Like, it's one of my favorite videos in the world. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, me.
You have to laugh so you don't cry.
Absolutely.
And I try to make other people laugh so they don't cry as well. That's kind of the goal. It's just like make people laugh while the world burns.
Ugh, dude, you're fucking telling me. I love that. I found you obviously because I found your content, like I think on Instagram actually, and I was scrolling through. But you also release music.
I do.
Is this your first single out?
So it's very funny. Like this is not my first single out, but it's my first single in my new niche, I guess.
Okay.
So we were talking a little bit beforehand. Like I was like a born and raised theater kid.
Which is so funny.
Musical theater is my roots. And so it makes, but it makes so much sense because especially with the rise of the internet, it's like I want eyes on me all the time.
Yeah.
And, but I also found myself growing up in the theater. I love theater and I will love to continue doing theater until I die. But like, especially for women, I just found like, and a lot of the old timey stuff, I was just like, I don't like singing about this.
Yeah.
And I don't like acting this part. And so when I was like in my mid-20s having like the standard identity crisis.
Yeah, a little quarter life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm kind of done like being on my knees, like begging for permission to do projects that I don't even love.
That's like literally the reason my band exists
Yeah.
today. Because I was like, I just don't want to do this anymore.
It's so weird how it doesn't occur to you sooner, but like one day you wake up and you're like, oh, I can actually do whatever the fuck I want.
I actually can make my own stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't have to ask anyone to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, duh. And
Yeah.
so I started my own like production company. I started doing a lot of musical parodies and directing like music videos for other artists and things like
So
that.
cool.
And like having a really good time with that. But
And what medium was that? Where were those productions going?
These were going like on YouTube. I mean, this is like, bleh, I feel so old. This is like pre-TikTok. This isn't a pre-TikTok world. So it wasn't even like Instagram. I guess it was like Instagram videos and YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And then, but I've always been a singer first, and I've loved to sing. So I actually put out my first like big single, and it was called Plant Daddy. And
I love it.
It's like a pop song about like, I don't need a sugar daddy. I just want a man who's going to buy me a lot of plants.
Okay.
And I like,
I resonate.
yeah, I like flew to LA and rented this bungalow and shot like the most beautiful music video I've ever done. And I am still truly obsessed with it. But then, you know, the internet just wants what it wants. And I made one stupid video in my bed making fun of emo music. And then the internet was like, that's all we want from you now.
Yeah, of course. It like pigeonholes you into that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then of course people were like, you know, like these are funny, but you can sing. And I was like, no, I know.
Like, you're like, I promise you.
Fully aware.
I know.
I was like, this is just 2% of what I do as a person, but it's all the internet wants to see. So, I actually got reached out. I made like a Kitty Boy. I made a song called Kitty Boy based on that one video.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's kind of like a silly, it's more of like a spoofy, like whatever you ask for it. But then I got reached out to by these two producers who used to work with Avril and Demi Lovato, and they were also like, you can sing though. And I was like, I know. And so we put together a song that I'm super proud of, and it's called I Don't Want Your Man, because it's funny, I'd gotten invited by Emo Karaoke Night to come out and sing at one of their shows, and I'm looking through their catalog, and I'm like, one, it's like half of the stuff for ladies is Paramore, which like Lord knows I love.
Classic, yeah.
But none of us can sing like Haley. Like the range is crazy. But then I'm also looking around at the content, and I'm like, literally every like pop punk song written by a lady from our back then, it's just like either like, he was your boy, now he's not your boy, or like, you took him from me and then I took him from you back.
Yeah.
And I was just like, again, it was like the musical theater trope of like, I don't want to sing about my pearls.
Yeah, totally.
So I wrote this song about how like, you can keep your boyfriend. Like, I'd rather,
I'm good.
like, can we just be friends? Like, I'm truly not here for your sad, weird boyfriend. So, so yeah, I Don't Want Your Man is streaming everywhere right
Hell
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
That rocks. Are you happy with it? Did you do a video?
I've done like little, it's so funny because like as content creators, I'm sure like everyone relates. It's like you go balls deep on like this sick
Concept, yeah.
and you're like shooting everything on nice cameras.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, but it doesn't perform well online because it wasn't shot on an iPhone. So I'm trying to work smarter. So I shot like kind of like.
Jamie's our DP for all of our videos. She's just like rolling her eyes.
Oh, it's the worst.
It really is the worst. Yeah.
So I did do like a shoot day in a skate park in the Lower East Side to just get like social videos. So there are like there are Instagram reels out there, but eventually would love to do a full scale music video for real.
Yeah.
But it's hard to be like producing all your own stuff, and obviously like you want to hire your friends who are super talented, but you also want to pay everyone what they're worth.
Like you don't have a lot of money. I was gonna say like, what are you working on a project of music now? Like, is that the goal? Or are you kind of like splitting your time between content and
there's so many things.
There's so many things. You're so like truly multi-hyphenate that it's hard to like.
Yeah, well, because I mean, like my goal is to like record enough songs to do a set at whatever the next festival is, because once I started doing these videos, I was getting asked by these like sort of emo nostalgia fests to come out and like interview bands and make content for them.
Totally.
And I'm looking around like, I can do this. I'm sure you can relate.
I get it. We actually literally just interviewed someone who started doing Broadway like red carpet, like interviewing Broadway red carpet videos, and was finally like, actually like I'm actually gonna be on the other side now. And did it. So that's really sick to hear, and also will flow very nicely, weirdly enough. But no, I get that. I would go like before we started playing like the big fest, like we would always get invited to go out and watch and stuff, and I would just kind of sit there and just be like,
well, and also no shade to like, there are obviously so many incredible performers, but it is really wild in market, especially with some of these nostalgia based bands where it's like some people really still have kept up their chops and can do it. And some people are really riding the name and the song from however many years ago, where it's like, it is crazy. It is the difference even in terms of how many times we've seen Daisy Grenade, but some of the bands that you play with where I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to see them again.
Yes.
Like every time the main plays, I'm like, yes, I'm ready to hear
always.
this.
Yes.
And there's some bands where I'm like, okay, I got my bit of nostalgia. I heard you guys play. Never need to again.
I won't say it, but I'm thinking of one specific.
Yes.
I know
we're all
I
thinking
know,
the same.
Yes. Okay. I know you are.
I know we are.
You were
On 1, 2, 3. No, I'm just kidding. We won't say it.
No,
But
I know exactly what both of you are thinking right now.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's so interesting. Like, to start in a content creation place and then kind of be like, well, what you say, like people being like, you can sing. You're like, I know. People will always comment on our music videos. They're like, wait, why can they kind of act? I'm like, I have a degree. I have a degree.
Yeah,
in
literally.
it. I'm like, that's why.
I think people forget about that. Like, we are, as like actors and artists in general, it's like we are just utilizing this platform to just like obviously like just get real world opportunities out of this thing.
Yeah.
But you're seeing like such a small
You're
part.
seeing a sliver of a person.
Yes.
And it pigeonholes you because of like algorithmic stuff and whatever, which can be great, you know, and can be awesome, but also can be dire because you're like, oh, now I'm stuck doing my emo music.
I'm literally emo girl now, and I'm like, that was just a joke. That was one joke, but I mean, it has been cool.
How much of the emo, like, I know you call yourself an elder emo, like how much of that was a part of your personality, like in the first iteration of the pop punk
Yeah.
world?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was like 16, around 16 when that scene started getting really big. And I mean, it was a huge part of my upbringing because I was
in Florida too, I feel like.
Huge in South Florida. I mean, I went to the same high school as Newfound Glory. Like that, it was just like there was a lot.
Like, Newfound Glory, like Day to Remember, like all of the so many Florida bands.
And Dashboard,
yeah.
It was a huge scene, and like all my guy friends were playing in their own little bands, and we'd like go to the laser tag place to watch them do shows and mosh. But I was like, it was sort of split between me being like lead in the school play and then like, you know, getting my guy friends to sing back up for me while I like sing a moody song at a coffee house. It was
totally.
Like, yeah. I would just like go to the skate park. It's so funny because a lot of the brand is like making fun of stuff about skate parks. And so like I'll do photo shoots at skate parks. I'll do music video shoots. And I'm like, I can't actually skate. But I hung out at a lot of skate parks because I had crushes on like every dude that skateboarded.
Skating,
yeah.
That's so funny.
That certainly played into it, being like boy crazy back in the day.
There was an amazing, who was it? Somebody sent us an email that was like, I think it might have been our label, was like, you guys should do like, this sounds like a skate punk song, which I don't remember what song it was, but they were like, it sounds kind of skater. Like, you guys should do like TikToks of like you guys skating. I was like, do you think I can skate? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've never stepped on a skateboard.
And
I would
weird.
break my neck.
Yeah. I'm also like, I'm not starting now.
Yeah, no.
Your girl is 34 years old.
Far too old to step on a skateboard. And I'm like,
it's too late.
My insurance is not good enough for that. I'm like, I need a nice night. I need better insurance before I get my ass on a skateboard.
Yeah, it's too late. But it's, you know, I'll take pictures with them and do, you know, it's part of the culture. I appreciate the culture, but that's pretty much it.
Skateboard culture, I really do.
Yeah.
And so, like, how has it been? I mean, you joke about, oh, this is what people want to see from me now. Like, how has it been, one, discovering, oh, there is this audience and market for what I can do here, and then now leaning in and saying, like, okay, here is my pop punk version, like the music, something closer to what I actually want to be doing.
Yeah, honestly, it gets a little bit. There's part of me that sometimes gets a little, like, feels a little claustrophobic. Like, there are days I'm super grateful for the outlet and the way, like, this took off. But then there are times where I start to feel a little claustrophobic. Like, if I want to do literally any other thing, are people just going to be like, no? And so, I mean, I've always, like, done comedy and musical comedy. This is just what sort of hit. But for example, like, I'm putting on a show at 54 Below.
Okay.
Oh my God,
first
fun.
week of March. You're both invited.
I want to come.
All three of you are invited.
Yes.
And it is like a variety show. It's called The Cher Show, kind of like the way The Cher Show used to be. I'm saying it's like Carol Burnett meets Chappell Roan. Like
I love that.
Like an all-female comedy variety show where we do a lot of like musical parody.
54 Below is such a great place to do that too.
And that's
Yes.
March
9th. If you're in New York City, come on out. But, you know, like, I'm starting to think about marketing that show. And I'm like, are people just going to be like, what the fuck is this? You know, it's just weird to be like, how do I be a full person in my online persona?
Okay, so now my marketing brain, if you were going to decide or describe that show in a minute, or in, like, what would be your quick, like, what people will get if they come to the Jaz Zapp live show?
Yeah, I mean, typically in the write-up, I say it's like it's the female variety show that is sorely lacking today. It's Chappell Roan meets Carol Burnett. It's we're gonna have like Broadway performers, female comedians, puppets, drag queens.
Hell yeah.
You're pulling out all the stops.
I'm pulling out all the stops. I'm literally having like a Henson puppeteer build me a custom puppet.
Oh my God.
For this show.
Oh my God, that would get me to buy a ticket alone. I'm like, that's sick.
I won't say what it's a puppet of, but you know, like there's no part of this show that is pop punk related. It's just like I wanted to make a platform for like, you know, like funny fucking women. Sorry, can I curse?
Yo, absolutely, please.
Funny fucking women to take the stage, especially as a comedian in a like. It's very competitive.
You have found yourself in the two worlds that are the worst towards women.
Literally.
Emo music and comedy.
Which again, yes, 1000%. And I was going to say, like, that was another thing of being at these fests and being like, where are all the women?
You do not have to tell me.
I mean, until I went to All Your Friends Fest in Canada, which was a fest, it was the most efficient, great fest out of all of the ones I had been to this year because the whole thing was run by women. Yeah. And we had amazing women on the lineup. And I was just like, more of this, please. But yeah, between comedy and pop
emo is, Whee!
You know,
that's a doozy.
It's hard out there. And then even then, like you grow a huge following and the guys are just like, sit on my face. And you're like, not why I'm here.
Go kill myself. That is so tough. I feel like you said something to me one time, Pete, where you were like, oh no, like women can't make pop punk music and they can't be funny, so you're fucked. Like you're fucked on the internet.
Yeah, well, you definitely can't do those things while also being hot.
No, certainly not.
Yeah, no.
Having a vagina, period, very hard.
It's like
being
two.
hot. No, thank you.
Yeah,
pick two.
You can pick two. You can be funny and gross. You could do pop punk and be hot, but you can't do all.
You can't have all of them together. No, absolutely not. Yeah. Have you found it like difficult at all, like moving into music? Just like, and actually, you know what? I kind of hate when people ask me this question, so it's an annoying question to ask, but I find it interesting. Like, have you found it difficult to get booked on stuff, like, or that you walk into something and you're like, oh, I'm the only woman here?
Yes. Also, like, because this is like a fairly new single, I've been, you know, I'm working now with a PR agency. Mm-hmm. Just because I've been like doing these fests and meeting, you know, and doing interviews, but then also being like, hi, I do stuff too. That's all really what it is, right? It's like meeting people and then just being like, but what about me?
Hey, here's my song.
So because
what about me?
Look, I'm not above batting my eyelashes to get what I want.
Oh, no. Certainly not.
The system is already in place, so I will use it to my advantage.
Absolutely. Why would you be stupid to not?
Yeah. So, because I have one song, like I've had opportunities where they're like, yeah, like you can come do an acoustic set. And I was like, I don't play guitar and I have one song. So I'm like, I haven't been hitting super hard the like, let's play stuff, but it was really just a matter of like, let's build momentum around this song and also like show people that I do this for real and not just like skateboard skate show,
which we love.
Yeah, listen, it's great.
But it also is really smart of you to hit somewhere on the internet, still operating within that space, but recognizing you need to maneuver around and not just pigeonhole yourself. Like I think a lot of people, and like I know the first big following I built on the internet was doing like political comedy, and like that was fun for a while.
Which happened
but
like essentially entirely by accident.
Yeah,
but,
always does.
Yeah,
but then you start to feel like, because people follow their incentives on the internet, and it's like, okay, I know if I do this style of video, it's going to get between 5 and 25,000 likes every time, and like you can continue to do that, but. Like it was unbelievable how quick the switch flipped for me, where I was like, I just don't want to be doing this style of content anymore. I don't like it anymore. And a lot of people, I feel like, either get stuck in that or they burn out and they never do anything else.
That is the natural progression of like being a person, is you're just like, I'm doing this thing for a while and now I want to do something else, or like now that that's the only thing expected of me, I'm sick of it. And it is really hard to pivot out. I pray for all of us, but
for real.
But like there was a time, I think over the holidays, this sounds so trite, I didn't post for a month. But I was just like, I need a break.
No, it's not trite at all because you do feel like we haven't posted on TikTok since the ban.
Oh, dude. I was like, oh, I guess it's gone. Deleted it off my phone.
Yeah.
12 hours later, everyone's like, it's back. And then I went to download it
can't
again.
get it back.
You can't get it back.
I
So
didn't delete it because I was like, this isn't real. I was like, there's no way this is going away. But I didn't delete it. I don't know why. So I still have it. But we haven't posted anything since I posted like a cheesy video of me like slow motion walking out of the room. And I was like, oh my God, so sad.
I feel like TikTok doesn't even like me. I feel like it knows how old I am. And they're like, not for you. And
Well, TikTok is weird though too because it is the platform I think that audience matters the least. Like it is so video to video dependent. You could have 1 million followers, and if the video doesn't hit the right points of the algorithm, it'll get 1,000 views, and you could have 10 followers, and if it hits the right points of the algorithm, you get 2 million likes. Like,
yeah. And again, because I'm somebody who's like, I want to put like my whole vagina in this video. No, I don't mean it like that. I mean like I want to make it look so good. Like I want to like put in all my like fuck.
So fucking funny.
I want to. That's right. I want to put in like my whole heart and soul into this video and make it look so good. But then like it's discouraging to be on an app where like that gets nothing, and then like a 16-year-old girl like in her bed with the lights off being like, so this is my day, and then they're like they get 1 million. You're like, I just can't. I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, totally. I feel like it's like also like it's so unforgiving in the same way. I think Instagram Reels is sort of similar too, but like it's so unforgiving where it's like you think you like, okay, this is the thing, I got it, I figured it out, and then you can do it again and like it might hit, but the comments might be completely different, where they're like I know for sure, like we had our cover of King for Day go viral, and like the first 100 comments, people loving it, they love it, it's great. You move past like 1,000, everyone's like, kill yourself.
That's
like, oh no.
We've talked about this before though. That's anything that hits like critical mass, where it's like once 1,000 people see anything, you're going to get people starting to tell you to kill yourself.
But also,
like,
absolutely. Yes. But also, what's so funny is like people are like, you guys just do covers. We've put out like 2 covers, and we have 2 EPs of original music out, and people are like, you guys just do covers, like stop doing covers. And then we release an original, and we're like, hey, like here's our new single, and everyone's like, you guys should have stuck to metalcore covers. It's like, okay, like what okay, yeah, no winning.
It's true. And it's like at a certain point you just go like, well, like any publicity is good publicity. If people are like fighting in my comment section, that's engagement.
Yeah.
Like once you can flip the switch in your mind. One thing that has also been funny too is like you'll get somebody who just saw you in the algo for the first time and they don't know anything about you, and they'll just, I think some guy recently was like, I have this video that's like, here's what every Panic at the Disco song sounds like.
Oh my God, I died at this one. It's so funny. And the bride is also a ghost or something. So funny.
Always. And
so good.
It's the most theater kid.
Oh yeah, I mean
shit
Panic.
of all time.
Yeah, of course.
But this one guy is like, wow, that like you clearly never listened to him growing up and like only Taylor Swift. And then my following just tore this man to shreds. Which like sometimes it's fun when people come to your rescue and they're like,
I love it.
They're like, bow down to the fucking emo queen of the internet, you dick. And I was just like, whoa. But either way, like I respond. I try to do a lot of engagement. Like I respond to everybody. I thank people for sharing my stuff. But like I love talking to the haters too and just being like, hey, appreciate you for being here.
Hey.
Thanks for joining the discourse.
Yeah. I do my best.
We have to reel Keaton back.
They have to reel me back really bad because like I will, like if someone says something really mean to me, I'm gonna be like, "Fuck you, you fucking loser."
Yeah, there's also enough people now that will ride to your defense.
Yeah.
Where it's like we have to be a little careful how much we weaponize it.
I have to be careful. Sometimes I'm like, you guys, back off. It's okay. Like, it's
I found where he lives. It's good.
No, literally, someone found like where someone worked one time, and I was like, guys. We don't like. It's okay. Like, it's really okay.
I actually do want to get into this too because I was wondering, being an elder emo and like seeing, how do you feel like fandom has evolved from when the first pop punk scene was really having its moment to like now where it's like if you say the wrong thing about someone, like here's your home address and you're getting doxxed by a 14-year-old who has Gerard Way as their profile picture or whatever. Like,
honestly, I've never been more scared of children than I am right now.
Oh my God.
It's wild, but it's also so interesting because I'm, talking to my team and I'm like saying like, I feel like this is a good place this is a good niche for me. This is like a good thing to pursue. And they're just going like, it's actually wild because all the bands from back then who are touring now on these like nostalgia tours are making more money now than they ever have.
Yeah.
But then I'm at, and I'm just like, well, okay, that makes sense. Like people in their 30s and 40s, we have enough money to like go to these concerts now. But then I went to When We Were Young Fest, and I'm seeing like 18-year-old girls being like, yeah, Hawthorne Heights is my favorite band right now. And I'm like, what? Like it's actually, so it, in a way I feel like it's good.
It's really weird.
So bizarre, but you're like, I guess that's the power of the internet. Like people are, you know, kids are being exposed to things. It's so much easier to get a hold of it, where it's like every time I say something that reveals, you know what, no, I'm gonna like embrace that I am in my 30s because I like being in my 30s.
And you look great.
Fucking thank you.
You're welcome.
Sometimes I feel dumb when I like am dressing for my niche, or I'm like, woman.
No, you look great. Fuck it.
But like when I was getting into this music, it would purely be out of like, oh, like a boy who had a crush on me burned me a CD, and there just like happened to be like a Taking Back Sunday song on it, as opposed, or I was like browsing LimeWire,
fucking LiveJournal or some shit.
Yes, or like somebody's MySpace
R.I.P.
profile.
Dude, LiveJournal, like, yeah.
Oh my god, I was such a bitch. I would just like go on people's live journals and be like, make fun of them. I would be the emo kid, like making fun of other emo kids for being too emo. But anyway, going on somebody's MySpace page and seeing their like profile song. So like now it's just, there's so much access, and so like you can just,
it is really crazy to hear. Like I have like 14-year-olds in my comments being like, yes, Fully Do is the best Fall Out Boy album. I'm like, what? How do you know?
It's also crazy because, like, as adults, like there is no time ever where we should be hearing a 14-year-old's opinion, and like there's just no time in my life where I'm like, yeah, I really need to know what a 14-year-old thinks about this. And because of like dummy accounts and profile pictures, you can't really tell how old anyone is. And like I have to say this to Keaton sometimes too, because of just, especially on X,
I get so mad.
People get so upset, and I'm like, you have to remember there's a like at least 30% chance this person is 14.
Yes, because when I was 14, 15, 16, not only was I like hormonal and emo as shit, but like that's when you start going on birth control, and that's when you could just start losing your fucking
And also,
mind.
it's the most confident you ever feel behind a keyboard, because you're like, there's no way anyone is going to find
and
me.
you definitely have not faced any repercussions
Any, like,
online in the way that every millennial has
Yeah.
fucked up in some way by like they learned when they were 15 or 14 posting on something they shouldn't have on a platform.
Oh my god, I remember in college when my mother somehow found my Tumblr from like 3 years prior, and she was like, you better delete this whole goddamn thing. And you know what? She was fucking right. Yes. There was some crazy shit on there that I was like, why was I 15 and posting like Bright Eyes lyrics about doing drugs? I was like, what the fuck am I talking about?
Yeah,
like, literally.
I couldn't get away with shit. I had one of those moms as well, where it's like
she was like Googling me or some shit.
Yeah, my mom was like, you have a picture of you online holding a red Solo cup. You need to take that down.
Yeah.
I was like, you'll never get a job. I was like, trust. There's gonna be a lot weirder shit of me on the internet in a few years. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god, I like remember getting that text and I was like, oh fuck.
That's so scary. I also think like you get older and you realize how many times in the past like you've been wrong, or you've just completely changed your mind about something, where I'm like, I don't carve anything into stone anymore. Like I've changed my mind about shit so many times in my life that like,
that's a really good point.
I'm good. Like I reserve the right to change my mind.
I remember like, have you guys seen the Billie Eilish documentary? It's on like Netflix or something.
But I would.
It came out a couple years ago, and there's a really interesting point, and I didn't know what I thought about it at the time, but now I'm kind of agreeing that she was like, for many, like before she was like able to drink, she was like, I'm never drinking, I'm never doing drugs. And her team advised her to not make that like a public thing, because they were like, you don't know how you're gonna you're 16,
right?
And I don't know if she does now, but I'm like, she probably feels, I would say probably fairly relieved that she never made like a statement on that, because I'm like, you're 16 fucking years old.
Well, and so famous at 16, like you have to give yourself the grace of
and
whatever
no matter
that
what, if you make a statement and say,
into.
I don't drink and I don't do these drugs, when someone inevitably snaps a picture of you having a glass of wine at dinner when you're 22,
Yeah,
she's gonna get shredded.
You don't want like a Jonas Brothers like promise ring to
Purity
God
ring.
situation.
Oh,
like
I remember that.
because
throwback
again, like we'll just make fun of you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And there's some things that are inevitable. Like I do worry. I'm sure that at one point I'm gonna say something really stupid or I'm gonna do something dumb and I'm gonna have to pay for it. And that's just the reality, I think, of being in any kind of like on the internet or in any way in the
public
eye.
spaces in general.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like owning your shit.
Just owning it. Yeah.
Just fucking own it.
Just being like, yes, I said that and it was fucked up and I'm sorry. Or like whatever the fuck it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's so I need to like probably hire someone to scrub some shit off the internet for me. Like not even, you know, like I'll go through like Facebook memory of like the status she posted today and I'm like, oh no. Like I've deleted.
That is some
I took
crazy
my Tumblr
shit.
out
Like
when I did. Like, wow.
I delete shit every day. But like, you know, and even stuff that's just like, this is just a stupid video. Like my first ever music video parody that I put on, I was in college. And my friend and I made a California girls parody, but it's South Florida girls. And it was like, back then it was like a huge deal to go viral on YouTube. And like, they played it on the radio. Now I'm now I'm like, I don't want anyone seeing like my fat fucking college face and my, like me singing like in a, we live in a state that's shaped like a wiener. Like it's funny, but it's like, that's definitely not part of the brand today. Like,
we used to make in college, I'm like just realizing these are on the internet. We used to make like I can't believe we did this, parodies of the Mary-Kate and Ashley songs, like from the movies.
Yes,
like we need a vacation or whatever. We used
I
do you remember this video?
This video
Where it was like we ended like in the video we like end up killing ourselves. Like that's like what the joke was, is that we were like jumping off the roof of the school at the end of like whatever. And now I'm like, where are those? Like, are those on Facebook? Are they on YouTube?
Probably
That's
Facebook.
when you know you've been on the internet for too many years, is when you know you've made things and put them places and you just can't find them. It's like living in an old mansion. You're like,
my God.
Like I vaguely remember that somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know where that is. Now I'm like going to text them and be like, hey guys, like where is this?
It's a little bit scary.
It is quite funny, in fact, but not something I want people
But that was like that was the style of YouTube back in the day. Yes. It was like all just chaos all the time.
Yeah,
but we were living for it.
Where you're like, is this funny now? Like, I don't know how this would read, but it really sure was funny at the time.
Yeah, we grew up with like, I don't know how old you guys are.
I'm 28.
Okay,
same.
Okay, so like I don't know if you were like privy to like the salad fingers era.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like like everything was fucking weird on the internet, and so like you just hope like. You just know that when you're gunning for like fame and success, you know inevitably people are gonna dig up some weird shit, and you just hope
it's not too bad.
It's not as bad as you remember. Yeah.
It's so funny. I was gonna say, like, where do you see yourself going, like either content wise or music wise, in the next couple years? Are you wanting to kind of zone in on one or the other? Or are you kind of hoping to stay on the same track? Or
I'd love to open up slightly more to just like more kinds of musical comedy, sort of like I was doing before. Mm-hmm. But I would love to like build a set.
Yeah.
Not like a song set. Sorry.
I would love to build a set for a musical.
Not, you know, to me, like my idol has sort of always been Tina Fey. And so, and she just is like a fucking funny lady, and she's smart, and she's just like done whatever the fuck she's wanted to do.
Yeah.
So for me, like, would love to write or like what Marla Mandela is doing, where she's just writing the funniest.
Mandela went to my school, not to brag.
Stop. Yeah. I love her.
Not at the same time.
And everything she does. And so like I would love to write a comedy musical.
Yeah.
I would love but I would love to do some touring.
Yeah, amazing.
And that's the thing, is like I've sort of stopped, like when I was younger, I was like, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. And then I just learned how many ways over the years I've pivoted and changed my mind, and now I'm like, look, I'm just gonna keep like throwing shit at the wall. I'm gonna do what I have fun doing, and hopefully make some money along the way. And like there are so many things that have popped up that I could have never even like imagined for myself. So.
Well, it's amazing. Our last guest who we just talked to was talking about, he's really leaning into, because he's also a live performer. He works in the theater world, but his bag really is like content and marketing. And he was saying like he just got back off a national tour and has been back in the city for a few months, and something he realized for himself was like every creative job he's ever gotten while he's in his 10 years in New York have come from the things he's made himself.
Yes.
And like has led him from one opportunity to the next.
Generally
and he
true.
was like, as soon as that key unlocked in his brain, he was like, okay, I have the motivation I need now to lean into this. And now he's working on a newsletter. He's got other things that have opened up new doors for him.
Yes.
But it is amazing once you make that realization for yourself how much cool and like variety can come from it if you have an open mind.
And look, like it's fucking exhausting. It's not easy. Like there are days where I'm like, can somebody just hand something to me?
Wouldn't it be nice to get an email that changes your life?
Yeah, a break is what they call it. Your big break. It really is, but it actually feels like I need a break. But like I was like auditioning for theater, doing like stuff that sucked, like trying to get an agent. And then the second I made my first big music video parody, that's how I got my first agent. And like work begets work always. Like it is truly who you know, and not just like not just like the agent you know, but also like
but like literally people that you meet,
the
in
person
these
that
circles.
you meet on that project, the person that's like you ended up like hiring for costumes and then thinks of you for something else. Like
today, Keaton literally recommended one of my friends who like we've just hung out with at a bar a couple times for another music video where they need a swimmer, and he's like, we were like, okay.
happens to be a swimmer. But also, I was thinking it was funny you bring up Marla because Cassie Pope is doing Titanic right now.
Yes,
and she's a dear friend of mine. I love her so much.
She's amazing. I love that she's like making her comeback. I mean, she's just like
she's just doing whatever she wants.
She's doing whatever she wants, and that's the key.
The reason, I mean, I think she's always wanted to do theater, and she talks a little about. We had her on the pod, and she talks about like wanting to do theater, but she like met Kristen Chenoweth, I think, at like a benefit that she was singing at, and she was like, I kind of want to do theater, and Kristen was like, okay, I'll help you. Like
that's another thing. If I can scream something from the rooftops, one is do whatever the fuck you want. If you have an idea, just do it. 2, don't be afraid to fucking ask for what you want.
Speak it into existence.
Literally ask people, write a cold email. Like the worst they can say is no. But like again, in this age of technology where
you're not calling them on the phone. Like you can fucking text them.
I'm not walking in during dinner. I'm just sending you an email being like, hey, I love your work. I want to do what you do. Can I buy you a coffee?
Can I pick your brain?
Yeah. Do you want to work with me or whatever it is?
The
Can I hire
wheel
you?
Gets the grease. Like
yes.
Every fucking time. And I will also say this because I literally my partner Danny, I say partner, people are like, you guys are dating. I'm like, no, she's my business partner, Danny. She loves the band Waterparks. She loves them. I love them too. But like that's Danny's band. You know, and she was like, I want to go on tour with them. I started, I'm not kidding, tweeting at them every day. I tweeted at them every day. Waterparks, take us on tour. I DM'd them. I found whatever, and they fucking took us on tour.
Fuck yeah.
They like we told our team obviously, and they have their, but they were like, honest to God, just DM them. Yes. DM them, tweet them, whatever. And I kept being like, wouldn't it be crazy if Waterparks took us on tour? At Waterparks, take us on tour, whatever. And then finally they called us and they were like, guys, we have a crazy offer for you. Do you want to go on tour with Waterparks? And I was like, it fucking worked.
Literally.
Like,
just ask for it. Just put it out. Like, I mean, oh fuck, okay. And sometimes like a little bit sometimes it's like a little fake it till you make it.
Totally.
Like the first time I went to a festival to interview bands, it was just like a festival reached out to me and was like, hey, can you just make a video like promoting this festival? And I was like, yes. And I would like to go there and go and have an all access pass and talk to the bands and like make lots of content. And they were just like, all right. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm reaching out to every other festival being like, this is what I do. And you should have me to do it. And they were like, okay.
It's quite literally, well, I won't say it's that easy because I'm like, sometimes they're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But like,
yes, for sure.
This was like the most recent example of this happening. This is like, I think this will haunt me probably forever, but it worked. So whatever. We're sitting in our like backstage at When We Were Young. We played at 11 o'clock in the morning. So we had, all day to hang out. And I
wish I knew you then.
I know. I'm so pissed. But everyone's like, oh, I missed you. I was like, that's okay. Like it was actually breakfast
most people
time.
Did.
Yeah, most people did. But we're sitting back there and I see Vic Fuentes and Jaime from Pierce the Veil walking. And we have the same agent, but we've never been introduced. Mm-hmm. And I think even our agent is kind of like, no, you should do it. Like, you should go up and be like, hey, whatever. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like hyping myself up. I'm like, and he's talking, he's getting stopped by everybody.
Of course.
Like, you know, stopping to talk, whatever. He's like on a press tour, like in backstage. And I'm like, I don't want to be annoying, but I'm like, I'm just going to do it. So I walk up and I'm like truly stumbling. I'm like, hi, hey, I'm Keaton. I'm in this band. We covered your song and it's nice to meet you. And he was like, oh my God, so fucking nice. He was like, I love that cover. You guys did a great job with it, whatever. And then they fucking offered us their tour. So I'm like, we're going on tour with them in the spring.
Fuck,
but like literally, I just had to hype myself up for like 10 seconds to just be like, just do it. And JB's in my ear. She's like, just go up to him, put your hand out, and be like,
but it's a practice.
But it's like,
it really is a practice.
It's a muscle you need to work, and it's not easy at the beginning. It can be very daunting, but it very often does pay off. Now I feel like my balls are getting a little big sometimes. Like
totally same.
I'll like meet up with other content creators in the niche at these festivals. One Emily, I'm Imperium is her name. She's so great. Her and her boyfriend are so sweet, and they're Canadian. And we're at the fest in Canada, and I'm just like, I think I'm gonna watch this side stage. And they're like, can you do that? And I was like, I don't know. And I just like walk up, and I'm like standing side stage, and I can see them like downstairs looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, just come up here. And afterwards they're like, you're just so like confident. I just need your confidence. I was like, literally, you don't be so nice and Canadian. Act like an American white man.
Yeah,
literally.
No, literally. I'm like, if all of us had the same, and I've watched men do this. I've watched men have this sort of brazen, it'll be fine attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like I can do that. Like I can do that too.
If it's working for them, it can work for me. As long as you literally step into it confidently.
It's also works for so many mediocre people.
Yes.
Like that is the biggest confidence boost you can get, is just seeing how mid a person can be and have it work.
I literally
and
just
it's
talked
like,
about
I can
this
do that.
about playing guitar, where I was like, you know what? I'm not a good guitar player. I know this about myself. I'm a fine guitar player. I can make the notes sound like notes and whatever, and I can play a song. I have seen so many bad guitar players that are men that people love
because they don't know. Also, you forget, like, all you have to know is a little bit more than
Just
the person who
Yeah.
doesn't know.
And mostly, like, as long as you look cool doing it, no one's gonna fucking question you. No one knows what they're hearing also. So it's like, it's helpful. You're just like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go out there, and I have fucking butchered songs before where I've been like, I did not play a single correct note.
But I bet nobody in the audience
But
noticed.
I was like, I'll turn myself down. I'm like, whatever, you know.
Dude, there's an element of fake until you make it. But like, again, just honestly fake confidence until you have it. I've been doing that my whole life, and I gotta tell you, it's working.
Yeah, I am with you.
I will say too, like, it is amazing how when you lean into that even a little bit, like with that festival, being able to say like, this is what I do. This is like, so many people are seeking that like content, whatever. And the world can open up to you, like just reaching out to people. You have no idea what people are looking for.
Like getting one opportunity with these big titles that he's working with, and being like, now I get to say, I do this, and here's the titles that I've worked on.
Yes.
You know, it's like, it's incredible what that can do.
And sometimes you're stepping up to somebody and offering yourself and what you do, and it's not that they didn't ask you because they don't want you. It's because it never even occurred to them.
100%.
Like, there's nobody at those fests that I've been at making like funny interview content with these bands. And again, like, in an age of social media, these bands, they don't want to be filming their own social videos backstage.
No,
like,
it's so refreshing to have an interviewer that A, knows what they're doing, B, is having a good time with you, where it's like, I did 6 hours of press when we were young, like back to back to back to back to back. And it was like, okay, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think it was about 4 hours where we like went back and forth.
Four, but feels like 6.
4, but felt like 9. And it was like, and you know, we're happy to do it. And obviously we need as much, whatever, like, you know, whatever we can get. But like, sometimes you're just like dragging through it. You know what I mean? And so it's so refreshing to have somebody who just wants to make something fun and funny and just have a good time.
It again
with you.
speaks to like the access thing though too. Like, a lot of those people are boring, stuffy people who are there, and the access was not that hard for them to get, and are doing like, so if you can be even slightly interesting or memorable comparative to that, you can break through so many.
Yes, I'm all, like, I want, and you know, you approach bands who have been impressed all day, and they're like, fuck, again. You know, but typically, like if you go in with good energy and again, you're asking fun, like the questions that aren't being asked, like I'm not going to sit down with you and be like, so what were your musical influences?
Right.
You know, like where are you from?
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you on tour? Like when's the last time you shit your pants? What's your star sign? What's your favorite candy? Like, you know, I'm just like, because I want to know what I want to know, and I know other people want to know it. But like, you know, and I also have to say, like in this scene, 90% of the time, everyone that I've met have been so nice, so kind. Like I can't stop screaming from the rooftops how kind Chris Carrabba is as a person.
I've never met him, but
Jimmy
I've
Eat World, like, and again, it's
Jimmy Eat
like,
World is the best.
you get so nervous about meeting the people that you grew up loving, and you're like, oh, please don't fucking suck.
I know. It's scary.
It is scary.
You're like bracing yourself. You're like, no. We went on tour with Jimmy Eat World, and we didn't talk to them the whole time.
Oh my God, why?
Because we were just nervous, and like it was like not that long, so it was like it was only like 2.5 weeks, so it was like we didn't really have time to like really get going.
Yeah.
But we got them like something on our last day. We were leaving the tour, and they were saying, so we like got them like flowers, something, whatever. We just kind of like knocked on their door and went in, and they were like so fucking nice, and I was like, damn it, like we didn't like make more of a relationship with them because we like were scared or whatever. And that was another lesson where I was like, oh my God, just go up and talk to them.
Yeah. Yes. It's like being an interviewer takes like training, you know, like I'm like a comedian and an improviser, which
Right.
thank God, because I can't imagine doing it without any kind of like experience to roll with the punches, because again, like a lot of these artists, they're sitting there for what feels like 9 hours, and they're just like, they're gonna get a little loopy on you, and you have to take it.
Well, so how much of your process then going into these interviews would you say is preparation, this is how I want this to go, and how much of it is just giving way to improv?
I mean, I always try to prep, but I always try to find like fun facts.
Yeah.
Like my goal is always for someone to be like, oh,
how did you know that?
Yeah, literally, why did you know that? Why did you know that, and how? So I'll like keep some stuff in my back pocket. Like when I was interviewing Lolo,
Love
who is
her.
also a theater kid.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah, and
I've met her so many times. We've never gotten there.
Yes, and she's like digging. You know, I'm like digging through her stuff, and I'm like, her like influences are like wicked. I was like, what the fuck? And so you know, it's just like finding those like weird little connection points, or
totally.
You know, just trying to make it refreshing for them. And you see the energy change during the interview where they realize they don't have to answer the same questions they've answered a million times, and they start to have fun with it. So I try to prep creatively, and then also of course like roll with the punches.
Well, how long have you been doing the interview circuit too?
Basically this whole like all of 2024, I was like,
do you enjoy it?
You know, I do. I'll enjoy it more when like I get paid more for it. There were some, like, especially when I was just starting out, I was like, I'm just gonna pay my own travel, like I'm just gonna blah blah blah. Because I wasn't seeing a lot of people doing it.
Right.
Here's my big weakness. I never edit my shit. I literally have mountains of interview footage from these fests, and I have released some of them, but like I have so much footage I need to release that I just need to fucking release it. And so like I've released a few. I just need to like sit down and do it. But that was the thing where I was suddenly was like, oh my God, it's actually scary to like come away from a 2-day festival with like so 80 hours of video footage that I'm scared to attack. You understand?
Yeah.
Do you feel the need to edit it yourself?
I do, because my editing style, I find like I do have like I think my own kind of style where it's like
pacing and tempo, and
that's half of the
that you get that somebody else might not.
I understand the inclination to cling on to that because I have for a lot of my like content career, but like an unlock for me was
letting somebody else do
it. Delegate.
Not only delegating, but realizing like if you have a style and aesthetic, that will still come through in the notes with an editor or in the training of the editor, and another person can get it 85% of the way there that gets the grunt work of this is 80 hours of footage.
Just
and I have been
the
grunt who's gone through 80 hours of footage to compile it to 45 minutes
you
of
offering?
content.
I think I was gonna say like let Peter do it.
I don't think I will be that person for you right now.
Like, please no.
He's like, actually no, thank you.
I think I have passed that point in my own career, but there
I love
are
that for you.
a lot of people who will do it.
I was gonna say like I said, I don't love going down this road because I find it obnoxious, but like I do wonder, like, because I have, my own experience being a woman in those spaces, but I can't really imagine being a woman behind the camera, like interviewing these all, like, it's probably 99% guys that you interview.
Correct.
It's probably a very welcome refresher when you get a woman.
1000% yes. Yeah, like fuck. It's so nice that I like feel like I get too cozy. Like I told Light that when I get to 100,000 followers, I'll let her give me my first tattoo and like she can pick what it is. I'm just like, I trust you inherently because you're here and you're a woman.
Oh my God, me and Cassidy were so happy to see each other in the interview tent at when we were young that we kissed on the lips on camera. I'm not kidding.
We do crazy shit when we're together, us girls. You should really think about having more of us.
You
on
should
the
get
circuit.
into it. It was so funny. She's walking by. We're on an on camera interview, and I go, Cass. And she comes over and I said, oh my God, I almost kissed you. And then she just fucking plants one on my lips. And I was like, that's on camera.
More women in the tent.
Someone has that somewhere.
I don't know where it is. It's never come out. I'm like, this is a great clip.
Well, you also have to be like cognizant of, me being in this space, like interviewing all these dudes, all these bands, and of just being like, I need to also like set a precedent that like I'm not a groupie.
Mm.
Like I'm not here to flirt with the bands. I'm here to interview the bands, and not that I haven't had my offers, but I just
not to brag.
I just know myself. I mean, who hasn't? But like, I just know. I know that
the bar's
like,
low.
Yeah, but it's like but also too like you go into these emo fests and you're like, okay, I have to like be professional, and you're like, oh wait, they're all like 45 with wives and kids now. Like no one's like but still you have to like really hold a boundary in a super male dominated space because it's such a slippery slope. You can't just be like, all right, maybe just one drummer. Like it's just not. Word will get around, and that's.
I know, which sucks because it doesn't for them. You know what
correct.
I mean? Correct.
That is correct.
So, yeah, and it's weird because like I always say this. I'm like, we got a few of them. And everyone said, that's good. We're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, shit still goes down.
We
Let
must
me fucking tell you. Yeah. We got to keep ratting them out. But
I'll get asked to come to these fests. And then, after people have seen my content and they'll be like, great, we love what you do. You can just like stay in that style. But just like, if you could just not bring up like, dating underage girls. I'll be like, oh, is this like usually a big problem for you? Like
you have to mention it before every press request. You're like,
that's like
no
underage
underage
I feel
women.
like that's genuinely the attitude. It's like everyone's like, well, we got a few of them. We're good.
We cleaned up most of the trash. And
yeah.
like,
well, and did you really get
did you
them?
though?
Yeah, I don't know if you did.
Yeah,
it's dark. It's dark out here.
It is. I mean, the night is dark and full of terrors. No matter what niche you're in, but
oh my God,
this is a bit of a left turn. But in talking about you, just because a lot of what the basis of this podcast initially was, and it's kind of evolved into
talking
more,
about craft and art.
Yeah,
and,
but initially when we got into this, we were talking a lot about like the financial reality of trying to make it either on the internet or just creatively.
Yeah.
And especially if so much of this for a creative lifestyle, whether it's making your own music or content, is just investing in self and an idea you believe in before anyone else. Or even when you get validation on the internet, it's like that got 10,000 likes, but TikTok paid me 8 cents for it.
Yeah.
How has that process been in terms of like really buying in and investing for yourself, for buying your own plane tickets to go out on this thing, seeing something you believe in, but then also how do you make that work?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, the first big part is being financially irresponsible.
Huge.
Is like what I have been. But like, I think, I went to school for theater in a time where everyone was like, everyone who was teaching you was like, if you can pursue literally anything else, go do that. And if you spend any of your time doing anything else, then you're wasting time and you don't like deserve it and blah, blah, blah. And then I got into the real world as a professional and was like, oh, I'm in this tiny box now where I have like no skills that will help make me money unless someone else gives me permission to do it. And so honestly, the most valuable thing for me to do was just like learn some other fucking skills and like make money, so that not that there's anything. I was in the service industry for a long time, but like if that's not where you want to stay, you have to like kind of claw your way out of it by teaching yourself other things. And also like, it's really empowering to suddenly be like, well, yeah, like I can do this, but then I don't need to depend on other people to like shoot, edit, record this, so that you can do things on a bit of a smaller budget.
Totally.
But honestly too, a lot of it is just like, fuck, you have to be like you have to be so confident that there's like a little bit of delusion.
Oh, we talk about this all the time. Yeah. You have to have the healthy delusion. Like there is a level of delusion that will send you over the cliff.
Yes.
But before that, there is like a certain level of delusion you need to believe that you can do it.
Yeah. Yes. And just like diversifying your revenue streams.
Oh,
like,
always.
Like, I mean, that was for a long time. I was just like, I do not come from a family that is like great with money. I did not like I'm just now as a woman in her 30s like taking an online course in like financial literacy. I'm just like I want to be more empowered to know what I'm doing instead of just like ignoring my bank account because I'm scared to look.
Oh, that's actually me.
Yeah. That's actually me. Don't get me wrong, it's still me a lot of days. And there are straight up times where I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And just being like, this investment, it's all investment into the future where I'm going to be really fucking rich because that's the goal. We
always joke about what we always say when our lump sum hits, where I'm like, my plan has always just been that at one point I will receive a large lump sum of money that will change my life.
Yes.
And we often go, oh, your lump sum hit?
It's your break.
Yeah. It's my big break.
Yeah.
Which is a break for me.
And like, I have always, since I am a child, just been like, and it probably is also not helpful that my mom like helps fuel the like my
mom too. My mom's like, you're a rock star.
Yes, which is like, it's so wonderful to have like wonderful supportive parents.
God bless Nancy.
But like sweet little Cher Bear my whole life has been like, one day you'll have a maid. So I'm like, okay, that's why now like I'm broke and my apartment is a mess because I never learned how to clean either. Like I just always figured, but I do firmly believe like in my soul that I am destined for great success and a lot of money. So like, and I just kind of feel like if you continue to believe that and you just keep fucking going, you're gonna do it.
I believe this about myself because of my taste. Because every time I'm looking at something that I'm like, ooh, I love that $7,000. I'm like, well, I'm destined for money because my taste is this way.
Yeah.
So they have expensive taste. So
yeah. Somewhere deep inside me knows that I will be extremely rich at some point.
Yes. Yes. And again, there's an element of faking it till you make it there as well.
Yeah.
Where
100%.
like I went to an event the other night and I was wearing this like, I had to have spent maybe $10 on this like little leather harness, and a girl comes up to me and goes, "Oh my God, is that Prada?" And I went, "Yes."
Absolutely.
You know, you have to fucking believe it, and also just like set your boundaries of like the jobs you're willing to do or the jobs you want to teach yourself how to do, or even just like, are you going to sell some dirty socks this week to make rent? Maybe.
Yeah.
And I got to be real. I've done it.
I have
sold feet pics.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Give it to us.
Please.
You can always cut it.
Great. You know what? But I have no shame.
I love
That's the problem.
I
have no shame.
But it's also a superpower.
Yes.
Especially in this age of the internet.
Yes.
It is 100% a superpower because that shame is what keeps most people from doing the thing they actually want to do.
Yes, that's exactly right. And the thing that I want to do is make money. And so like I'm very careful about like, I won't, like, if I'm going to do something dicey for money on the internet, I'm not showing my identity. I'm not ever, like, showing my face or doing anything like that. I'll sell some socks. I'll share some feed pictures. Probably the wildest request that I got recently was somebody paid me, like, $100 just to blow my nose on camera. Just, like, blow my nose on camera, pick my nose, and like show them what was inside my nose.
Oh my God. I'm just trying to understand like where
the kink comes from
yeah.
that.
It's the taboo element. Like I guess it's the stuff they're not supposed to be into and they want. And again, like I don't kink shame. I'm like, if that
does it for
floats your boat, like
hell yeah.
I've worked
Absolutely.
way harder for $100
yeah.
than showing you my
I've done
snot.
a lot more for a lot less.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I've also like, I don't know. I've blown my nose for free, so like,
you know. Oh, that's fucking iconic.
Yeah,
I haven't stepped into that world entirely, but I have sold basically every item of clothing I've ever worn on stage, and I will say some of those purchases I've been like, who's Brian?
But also, like, thank you, Brian, for your charitable contribution.
No, like, actually, like, it does actually help. And I'm like, whatever, man. Like, if you want to have my fucking corset that I wore in the Got It Bad music video, great. You know?
Love that. I
That's
love
fine.
that. I also, like, I'd be less weird about maybe saying this publicly if it wasn't like my own parents have been like, go for it, make a buck. My dad's like, we could make my dad once called me, I guess he like got wind of this whole trend or this business model on like Howard Stern or something, but he was like, you know, these hot women are just selling their underwear. He's like, you know, we could go into business. He's like, you don't even have to wear them. I'll spray. He's like a big outdoorsman. And so he's like, I'll just spray some like deer scent in them that we use in the woods. Nobody will know the difference. It's like deer urine. We'll just, we'll make a fortune.
Oh my God. My dad it's very different, but my dad has an incredible business idea that he like wants to go into business with me, which is making like not portable is the wrong word, but like foldable, he's a fitness guy and he has been for many years, foldable gym equipment on tour buses. Ooh, which is like actually brilliant.
Yeah.
And like patenting them so you could put them in the bus bays so you could like fold out squat racks or whatever. My dad sat with me for 3 hours when we were in Palm Springs where my parents live, sitting there telling me about how the patents would work, who he would get to do it, whatever. And I was like, Dad, you should invest in this. This
Honestly,
is great. I'll help you.
Yes. You have like the best marketing.
And you and your dad are going to sell your underwear.
We're going to sell my fake used underwear. But now everyone knows it'll be deer
It's real.
urine.
It's real.
I'm really sorry.
It's real.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Do you make, and you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but do you make all of your living on your content and on your music and stuff, or do you work somewhere else?
No, I am actually, this is so meta, I'm a full-time podcast producer. Well, I also too, I'm about to revive my old podcast with a network, which I'm very excited about because hosting is like one of my favorite things. But when the pandemic hit, I was laid off, and again I was like, I need a freaking skill set because none of us are performing.
Yeah.
Which was another time where I think a lot of people were shaken up, was like, oh, I need to like learn how to pivot.
Yeah, I need to do something. That's why I pivoted to music. Want something only harder than theater.
Right.
Girl. Like, my mom was like, no, like,
what are you
go
doing?
into tech.
Learn how to code.
Yeah.
But I started my own podcast production agency. That was basically to help women launch and then sustain their podcast because again, another male dominated industry.
Yeah, we picked the worst.
LOL. Yeah, why do we keep doing this?
Yeah.
We love a challenge.
Yeah, I love a challenge.
I'm just kind of a guy's girl. I like hanging out with the boys.
I'm like, I just get boys better than I get girls. So
yeah, there's like
works
a
for
lot
me.
of drama. So. Actually, me as a young girl.
Oh,
and
no, literally same.
Yeah, we were brainwashed.
Yeah.
It's not our fault. But
we came around.
Yeah, so I like taught myself how to produce podcasting and became like the go-to girl for that. And so, yeah, again, I'm so grateful. Even on my most annoying work day, I look back and go like, I used to close the bar down at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And like, again, there's no shame in that. It's the hardest work anyone can do.
Yeah.
But like, it's not sustainable when you are older and tired.
Yeah. And when you have a dream.
Yeah. When you're, yes.
When you have a dream, I say that as a joke, but it's
no,
real.
but it's true. All of like the go-to artist jobs are the ones that like truly deplete you the most from doing the thing you
absolutely
need to do, which
suck
is like
your soul out,
creating or auditioning or like just having the energy or feeling. I also feel like the service industry for a long time made me feel like I was less than, like it was not good for my confidence.
No.
Especially like anyway.
No, I so get it. I'm like, if I could quit my retail job that I work right now 2 days a week, so I'd say it's not, it's not paying my bills, but like it's supplements me enough where I like feel stressed, and they let me tour, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I didn't have to do that, all of that time and energy, and it's like the day before, the day I have to go in, the night after, like I lose all of that time.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would have more energy to put into my creative ventures if I were not being soul sucked by that job.
Yeah. And as much as I love my job, like, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting paid to do something creative essentially. There are definitely days where I'm like, why am I spending like 8 hours editing this video podcast for somebody else and not myself?
Yeah.
I feel that. My main job is an editing job, and I feel similar. I have kind of worked it out within myself, and I figured out my systems to make it so I don't have to do, I don't know, like the reason I liked the job at first was because it was semi-creative,
Yes.
and now that I've almost removed that creativity from it, I still can have the creativity in the other parts of my life.
Yeah.
You have to like take it. It has to be less personal to you almost, and that can be hard to do. I got in trouble at work because I'll do like an Ask Me Anything day or whatever, and I had a long day in the studio, and I posted one of the questions I got was like, oh, what are your like in studio essentials? And like, I'm a comedian. Everything I say is a joke unless I say otherwise. Everything I've said on this podcast, by the way, is 100% true. But unfortunately, but I made like a silly list of like non-crunchy snacks, like my Nintendo Switch, like, and then something like it was like the self-control to not chime in when I have like a funnier joke to make than the person on mic. And I guess like somebody screenshotted my story and sent it to my boss and was like, and they were like, just don't say you're funnier than the hosts. And I'm like, totally understood. Definitely a joke, but understood. And then in my head, I'm like, but I am funnier than the
And also it's like, fuck the snitch for that.
Right.
That is crazy.
That's my biggest takeaway from that. I'm sorry. It's the what am I trying to say? It's the screenshotting of the story.
That's wild.
I put that on my outs list for 2025.
Screenshotting the story.
Yeah.
I worked at a Lululemon in college.
Ooh.
So bad.
Wow.
So bad. I could tell a million stories, but I had pink eye. I had gotten pink eye from who knows what. And I can't believe how I'm starting the story. I had decided, obviously, that I wasn't going to work because I had pink eye. But of course, I did decide to go out to a bar. So
You're like, I don't care about these people.
I was like, fuck the people at the bar.
Everyone here has pink eye
but
too.
I have an excuse to not work tomorrow. So
Yeah.
fuck it. And if you're seeing this from the people that I worked with at Lululemon, I am sorry. But
You're not.
you're not. I actually hate those bitches. But they some guy that I genuinely thought was my friend. He was the only one that followed me on Instagram, so I know it was him. Screenshotted it, and they called me, which I found out later is actually illegal. They called me and they were like, "Are you sick? Actually."
Oh yeah, that is legal.
Super
100%.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And they were like, "Well, did you go out last night?" And I was like, yeah, I did. And
This is not that kind of sick.
I was like, I have pink eye, first of all. I'm sure I got everyone at that bar. I gave everyone pink eye. And I look disgusting.
Yeah.
But, like, I was like, oh, my God. I was like, first of all, fuck you. His name was Chris. Fuck you, Chris.
Fuck you, Chris.
Fucking snitch.
Yeah, like, such a snitch. And also, I was like, I think it was like Halloween weekend or like something like that. It was like something was going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going into work, but also like all of you motherfuckers would have done the exact same fucking thing. So I was like, oh my God, I was like, never again. And so I don't let anyone I ever work with follow me anymore.
That's so smart.
I'm like, do not. This isn't for you.
Everyone at work follows me because we're a social media company. And
Yeah, that
I
makes
can't
sense.
get away with anything. But that's what close friends is for.
That's so true. I'm a ranter on my close friends.
Yeah, I once got called out by my agent because I missed an audition because I thought, sorry, now we're just going down the
Instagram. Yeah, no, it's fine.
I called out of an audition because I thought I had appendicitis and I was going to the hospital.
Classic.
And look, I make up a lot of fake excuses for stuff. I'm a flaker. I straight up.
You're a New Yorker.
The thing about appendicitis though is it is only a reliable fake excuse once.
Yes, but it was
unless you don't actually have it.
In that
Well,
moment,
if you don't have it.
In that moment, I had like gone to an urgent care, and they were like, "You should probably go to the emergency room like now, just in case." Which again, like this is a time sensitive issue. Mm-hmm. So I went to the emergency room, and it was an appendicitis, of course. And then I had a date that night, and so I went. I was feeling better, and my appendix was fine. So
yeah.
It wasn't
I'm
about
honestly
to
not
burst.
canceling the date.
right.
That makes logical sense.
And then like somebody through the grapevine, who like my agent was friends with, who was friends with the guy I went out with, was like, "You called out an audition, but you went on a date." And I'm like, dude, get off my dick. Like,
yeah, for real. I'm also like, now I'm gonna watch your shit every day, every
Yeah.
day until I find something.
I found out my guts were fine, so I'm
hell
letting
is wrong with
somebody
you?
rearrange them. Is
yeah,
that a crime?
for real.
If I'm not in physical danger,
And that's misogyny.
let me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We were all thinking it.
I think that's a beautiful place to put this today.
Great. And that's on misogyny.
Places we can find you online.
You can find me everywhere. I guess my TikTok exists, even though I have no access to it. But I'm mostly on Instagram. You can stream my music everywhere.
Yes.
Jaz Zapp Jaz with 1 Z, Zapp with 2 P's. Online, I'm Jaz JAZ_Zapp ZAPP.
And show on March 9th at 54 Below.
Show, yes, the Share Show. It's part of the Knockouts Comedy Festival, which is a all-female comedy festival that runs whole week of first week of March here in New York City. So definitely come see all the great female comedians we've got there with no male interruption.
I love it. And that's Glass Slipping. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hell yes.
That was so fun.